Welcome to the Visualize Meditations podcast, hosted by your friend Sasha Patil, a Chopra certified meditation teacher. The first step to creating the life of your dreams is to create a clear and compelling vision for what you want for the future. I'll be guiding you on visualization meditation so you can get clear on your deepest desires. Let's get started so you can turn your vision into a reality. Hi, hello, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Visualize Meditations podcast. It's a gal pal Sasha. What the hell is happening? Let me paint the scene for you right now. I am currently in Rio de Janeiro. I've been here for 2 weeks and I leave in a couple of days. This has been the longest that I've been in a single place since the beginning of November. Yes, I started traveling end of December, but when everything was going on with my ex, with the breakup and everything, I was bouncing around a ton between our apartment and my friend's apartment and New Jersey and whatever. There was a lot of travel involved. And this has been the longest I've been in a place since the beginning of November. And honestly, it feels really good to ease into a place, have my own space. I have a really cute apartment. It's adorable. Stay tuned on Wellness Unhinged. Today's solo series episode, I have a lot to cover. The last time we had a chat, I was in solitude outside of Zion National Park, and this trip has also been solitude, but in a very different way. I haven't been quite alone. I've been talking to people. I've been calling friends and family. I've been on the phone with everybody. I've been taking tours. I've made a ton of friends here, like a handful of friends here that I've been going out with, so it's not really solitude here. But I have been going through a lot. My first solitude leg, I was really enjoying my own company. I was really enjoying my own time. And in this leg of the trip, I have been enjoying myself, don't get me wrong, but I've been going through a lot emotionally. And let's get into it. This is going to be the first ever solo series episode where I actually took notes on things I wanted to chat about because there's a lot to cover and a lot to go over. And let's get into it. After I went to Zion National Park and hung out there for 10 days in complete solitude, I took a flight over to Miami. And I was in Miami for 10 days. I stayed with a friend for one night. It was so sweet. I had two of my old neighbors come pick me up from the airport. It was adorable. They dropped me off at another friend's house where I stayed overnight. The next day, I went to the Call Her Daddy Unwell Spring Break event. And oh my God, it was a freaking blast. I went by myself. I got a VIP wristband, which included the hotel room, which I had a patio, and I was the only one who had a patio, so everyone ended up doing the after parties at mine, the pre-games at mine, because we could all like smoke and hang out on the patio, and it was so much fun. I made a ton of friends, and it was a blast. It was a party. It was a bender. This event was so well curated by the Unwell team. The amount of free stuff I got, the amount of the IVs and the activities and the massages and all the merch, like I made my cost back in the ticket just with the free stuff and like the open bar and the food, and it was incredible. I had so much fun. It was such a blast. I really enjoyed myself. Being able to be around this was so inspiring to me, especially since Alex Cooper, someone I really look up to, and Call Her Daddy is obviously my favorite podcast, and I really enjoyed myself. I had some pretty adventurous sexual escapades happen, but I'm not going to talk about that publicly. Anyway, so did that event, went back to my friend's place in Doral, hung out there, treated that more like a work retreat, hung out. That was really nice. And I was like starting to go through it emotionally, but it was like good to just sit and work and really enjoy that piece of the trip. After that, I went over to my old neighborhood. I used to live in Brickell, and I stayed with another friend in Brickell for 3-4 days. And this is when this piece of the trip got pretty emotionally intense. It was really interesting to go back to my life in my old neighborhood, like doing my old evening walk and going to my regular grocery store and walking around the building where I used to live and going to my old favorite spots and like favorite bars, favorite restaurants, like seeing my friends. How did it feel? Well, it still felt like home. It still felt like home. And I really miss my life. And it was really, really enjoyable for the first couple of days. Like I was hanging out with my friends, like I was hanging out. It was a good time. And it was really, really fun and enjoyable until it wasn't anymore. And it was not fun and enjoyable. The Saturday before I left, the day before I left, was probably one of the most intense days of my entire life. Literally went to a pool party. First of all, let me back up. I was at the Call Her Daddy spring break event, and it was my last morning before, literally the morning I was checking out, and someone comes and knocks on my door at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm thinking it's my friend coming to pick up her jacket. It's not. It's some random man. And is this Carlos's room? No, this is not Carlos's room. Hi, I'm Sasha. Nice to meet you. This is not Carlos's room. Carlos was my across the hall neighbor who I did know because I literally heard music on his door the first night, and I went and knocked on his door and I was like, hi, I'm having an after party if you guys want to come over. So I knew him. So he ended up coming up after this guy like 3 seconds later. He's like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean for my friend to knock on the wrong door. I was like, no problem, whatever. He said, well, can we just come out and we coming home from the club at 7 o'clock in the morning. Can we come out and smoke a cigarette on your patio? Of course. Right, I'm in my PJs. We go, we hang out, we're chatting. They end up leaving. And 10 minutes later, I hear another knock on my door. And again, I think it's my friend picking up her jacket. No, it's the guy who knocked on my door. And he basically hits on me. And I'm like, first of all, what a cute meet cute. Okay, cool. And was I debating just like inviting him over and using him? Yeah, I did. But I didn't end up doing that because I was like, well, if I'm questioning if I want to do something, I definitely don't want to do it. So he invited me to a pool party that next Saturday, which, whoop, zoom back to this Saturday. It happened to be his birthday. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Literally went to this place, went to the Hard Rock with him and his friends, went to this pool party. It was Cascade. Had the best time. The best time. So much fun. Really enjoyed it. They like invited me for dinner. They were inviting me out. But like at that point, it was my last night before I was leaving Miami. And I told him right off the bat, I was like, my priority is seeing my friends. Like my priority is hanging out here, but like, I got to get back to Miami. I got to hang out with my friends. I leave tomorrow. So I went back. Me and the couple I was staying with, we ended up going to Sexy Fish, which is a restaurant in Miami. We went, we're having drinks, we're having a great time. Like my friend works there, so she's like hooking it up, okay? And she is one of my neighbors. And I stayed in Miami longer to hang out with these neighbors. And they typically throw the after parties. It's ultra, right? So they typically throw the after parties. I literally stayed to hang out with them and to go to their after parties. And the whole week I'm like asking them, hey, when are people hanging out? Like I want to come over. And it just kept not happening. And eventually it was like, okay, it's my last night. And she and her boyfriend, she's telling me that they're basically fighting over text because my ex is going to be at this after party because obviously he still lives in the building. And whatever. It's like a whole thing in itself about how I feel about all of that, about this dispute. Doesn't really matter. But they're basically fighting over, well, he's coming, so Sasha can't come, so blah, blah, blah. I end up calling my ex. Also, keep in mind, I've been drinking all day. I've been doing water every other, but I have been drinking all day, okay? I call my ex and I was like, hey, are you cool seeing me? Because I want to go to their place, like our friend's place. And he goes, yeah, I'm cool seeing you. Are you cool seeing me? I'm like, yeah. Great. I'll see you in 10 minutes. Okay. Walk back to my old building. My ex comes down, picks me and my two friends up, and brings us up to the after party. First of all, my ex got a half sleeve tattoo, which it looks great. Okay. And we went to this party and at my neighbor's place, my old neighbor's place, I don't know. And it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. Most of my neighbor friends showed up. It was really amazing to see everybody. It felt so normal and it felt so right. And it made me really sad. It made me so sad because I was like, this still feels like home. Not just Miami. This building specifically, this community specifically still feels like home. And it made me really sad because I spent 2 years building this community and making friends with people and really immersing myself in my life in Miami, and I don't even get to enjoy it anymore. My ex is the one over there enjoying the life that I built for us, which I'm really glad that he gets to do that. But it makes me feel really sad because not only did I end my relationship, I ended my life in Miami, at least for now, and that severed a lot of roots. And I didn't realize that until I went back. I was like, wow, okay. It was something I talked about with my therapist where I went back and I was like, some of these people are not as close to me as I thought they were. When he encouraged me to think about, okay, when you went back to Miami, who made time for you? Who made it an actual effort to see you? Who made it a priority to make sure that they got a chance to see you? And those are your real friends, not these people who didn't answer the text or didn't want to hang or whatever. So that was really hard. That's a really hard pill to swallow too, is I realized, oh my God, I'm really still grieving my life in Miami. I was so happy in my life. And I got to come back to my life and see it go on without me, see these people still be close and these parties still happen and this community still continue on without me. And it's been really hard. It's been really hard since. And I realized that Miami still feels like home at this point. I don't know if it's still going to at the end of the year. I don't know if I'm going to go back. I have no idea. But I realized that even if I did go back, it wouldn't be the same. And that's really difficult because when I left Miami, I didn't expect my life to be ending. It was all of a sudden, literally all of this happened within the span of a month, like a couple of weeks, where one minute I was in Miami looking at buying a place with my ex, and literally within the span of 10 days, packed up all my stuff and I was gone. What? And it ended really suddenly, and I'm still realizing that I'm really grieving. I'm really grieving the end of my life there. I don't mean to get emotional, but I really miss it. I really miss my life. I was really happy. And I feel sad that it had to end so abruptly and so soon. And I'm also grieving like friendships that I thought were closer than they were. And I'm so grateful for the friendships that did show up and that did make it a priority to see me. I am grateful for that. But it is hard. It is hard to go back to your life and see it. And that doesn't even include me sitting down and chatting with my ex, which we sat down. We kept bumping into each other at this party, and we kept getting into a conversation and then being like, we need to have an actual talk. If we're going to talk, let's sit down and talk. So we went outside and we ended up talking from 3 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the morning. And I'm not going to talk about specifics about what we got into because that's private. But what I will say is that it was a really healing conversation. It was a very open, honest, respectful conversation. And he said all the shit you want your ex-boyfriend to say. And it was really healing. And I'm really glad I didn't want to see him when I got to Miami, but I did. And I didn't plan for it to happen, but it did. And I'm really glad I did. And honestly, since then, I have been also re-grieving my relationship. Like, I thought I was completely over it, but I think I put like a Dr. Leprechaun shaped band-aid on top of it. And now that I've seen him, I'm like, wow, I am still grieving the end of that relationship. Like, I do love my ex and I do miss him. And since being here in Rio for the last 2 weeks, it's come up quite a lot where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that one time, and it doesn't make me sad, but I love him and I miss him. And I think that's a normal part of breakups and relationships, is that like you have to grieve the ending of things, especially when things change so suddenly when you didn't really want them to. So I've been doing a lot of grieving in the last 2 weeks. I've been crying a lot. I've been crying into my work. I've been breaking on and off just in tears, basically. And I think it's healthy because I think I've been putting like a band-aid of travel and of Dr. Leprechaun on top of these like really huge wounds. And now I'm realizing like I really do have to process through what I went through and grieve it and feel the emotions of everything there. And that's what I'm doing while I'm here. So it's been tough. It's been really hard. And yeah, speaking of like the whole Dr. Leprechaun thing too, that looks like it's fizzled out at this point. Like, we have been talking less as prescribed by my therapist, and we've come to the agreement that we are just talking way less, and if we're meant to be together, we'll be together in the future. Is there a real possibility and I end up with him? Yeah, there is. But I just think now is not the time. Like, I'm realizing that there are a lot of these wounds that I need to work on in myself and a lot of healing that I need to do within myself before I can even think about getting into a serious relationship. And I think for him too. And I think I'm just going to take a break from dating and hooking up in general, just because I need to learn who I am by myself. I need to lean into who am I when I'm alone? Who am I when I'm by myself and like single, but like also just not dating, like just being on my own and dealing with that. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break from that, and I need to heal through some of my stuff before I can even consider getting into another relationship. If he and I are meant to be together in the future, we will be, but for right now, it's just not it. So also grieving that too, like talking to him less. He's been a support system for me, and it's been hard. It's been hard because I do miss him. Like I miss talking to him. So it's been challenging. Something that's been coming up with a wound that's been coming up that's kept being reopened. And I thought it came from my last relationship, but turns out it's way deeper than that, is this like fear of rejection and this feeling, this real difficulty feeling undesired. And I thought that was something that I got from my last relationship, but turns out after therapy, I've learned that that wound goes a lot deeper. And it's something that I've actually has come up since childhood that I need to work through. And in order to deal with that wound growing up as a child with like family stuff, I was always seeking companionship. So I always wanted a sibling. I always wanted a pet. I always needed friends around. I needed to always have a boyfriend. And I was always searching for companionship. And like I got it, but also sometimes it was reinforced with rejection, with friends not wanting to be friends, or like families not truly being my family, or like boyfriends, whatever. And that's something I like actively need to work on and heal through right now. And that's something I'm like working on within myself and also with my therapist about where does this come from? How could I heal this within myself? Because there are like things I need to work through before I can even jump into another relationship. Like it's just not, I'm just not there right now. So honestly, since being in Rio, emotionally, things have been very, very hard. I've been grieving a lot. I've been crying a lot. I've been processing through a lot of emotions. I've been really, it's been tough. I've been sad. I was on the phone with my dad the other day, and my dad and I typically get on the phone for 10 minutes and we talk about logistics. Like, we don't really talk about emotions or anything like that. I leave that for my mom. My mom's the therapist. She's not my therapist, but she's a therapist. And my dad was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Emotionally?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Honestly, no, I'm really, really sad." And he's, "I can hear it in your voice. I can hear it in your voice," which is so unlike him. So yeah, it's been really tough. It's been really, really tough. Have I been enjoying my time in Rio? Yes, absolutely. I've been working a ton, and I've been making it a point every day to at least leave my apartment once a day, go out, go for a walk, explore Rio, do some sightseeing. Last weekend, it rained all weekend, so I didn't do a ton last weekend. But I've met some like really cool people. I've met some cool friends. I've just been enjoying my time, gone out to parties, gone to Brazilian steakhouse, done a bunch of hiking, a bunch of sightseeing, surfing, like whatever. Like I've done it all. And I've also just been working a ton because like my rule is solo female travelers, you don't go out in the evening or at night when it gets dark. So the sun sets pretty early here. So I've just been working in the mornings. In the afternoons, I'll go and do something. And then I'll come back in the evenings and just work basically all night. I've gotten a lot done and it's felt really good. And it has been like solitude, and I've made a lot of friends. I've made like a handful of friends here. I'm about to go dancing with a girlfriend like literally in an hour. It's exciting and it's fun, and it has been cool like seeing that I can make community everywhere I go. I can make friends anywhere I go. But that's not to say that this hasn't been fucking difficult, because I'm 3.5 months into this digital nomad journey. So not to say that it hasn't been difficult, because it has been difficult. This is the first time where I'm like, wow, I am going through it. I am going through it. How much of it is grieving my life in Miami? How much of it is grieving my end of my relationship, the end of my situationship? I don't know. I don't know. But it is a lot to go through at once, and it is something I'm feeling really challenged with, and it is something I'm like working through right now, and I think it's honestly really healthy. I think it's really healthy to be crying and grieving and going through, because a lot of things that I loved are no longer there right now, and of course there's like feeling of loss, so I'm just dealing with that right now. So when this episode comes out, it'll be right around the time of my birthday. And I will be doing a birthday episode, which I'm really excited about. It'll be coming out later. But this episode will be coming out around the time of my birthday. And if you've been here long enough, you know I have been doing this podcast for in May will be 2 years. And so by the time this episode comes out, this podcast will have been going on for 2 years. And I told my friends and family about it 1 year ago. And I was sitting and thinking about the last year since I've launched my podcast, since I've told friends and family about the podcast. What have I learned? What have I done? Where can I innovate for next year? How can I innovate for season 3? And I sat down and I wrote down everything that I did in this last year since telling friends and family about the podcast. I've added a second episode every single week. I told friends and family about it. I've hired my first teammate. I started doing the daily vlog series, which, by the way, you guys are loving the new edits. That's the intern. She's amazing. We're obsessed with her. We're doing vlogs. I started making revenue from this podcast. I started actually making money from this podcast. I started recording and launched a second podcast with my best friend, Josh Glanville. It's called Mastermind Moments with Josh Glanville. If you want to listen, it comes out every Wednesday. I did that. So much has happened in this last year that I'm so proud of. Like, I really worked on the social media marketing, made a pivot in the social media marketing once I started traveling full time. And I'm so proud of all the work I've put into this business, and I love it so much. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to do this. I'm so grateful that it's a full-on revenue stream, but not even that. The best part about all this is I've been getting more and more testimonials from listeners about how I'm making an impact and how much they're loving it and how much they're loving hearing about my journey, requests for meditations, and like that just makes my whole life, because when you're doing a podcast, it's a very one-sided platform. It's like I'm recording and I see the numbers go up and up every month, but I don't know who these people are. So when you guys actually reach out to me and talk to me on social media, I'm like, wow, like these are real people. And like knowing that I'm making an impact and a difference for you, that's why I do what I do. Yeah, it's fun, but at the same time, it's like I do this to improve someone else's life. And when I hear the feedback from it, it makes my entire day and makes my entire life. And honestly, so proud of the work I'm putting in for this podcast. And I'm so happy that we've been able to do what we've done this last year. And for season 3, I brainstormed what I wanted to innovate for season 3, and I am so excited. I am so excited about what's coming up. I've thought about everything I want to implement this year for season 3, and next week I'm going to sit down and plan out how I'm going to do that this year, but I'm really, really excited about where it's going, and I hope you guys are too, so stay tuned for all of that. So happy birthday to the podcast. 2 years old. It's been a whirlwind, but it's been such an amazing journey, and I've learned so much from it, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. This is season 2 of the podcast, and I'm so, so grateful that I've been able to do this, and I love creating this for you guys. If there's anything you guys want to see in season 3 from me, please let me know, because I'm really excited about the innovation I'm going to do. This podcast is also coming out around the time of my birthday, so I think I'm actually going to sit down and record things that I've learned and then add that to the birthday episode. So keep your eyes open for that, because it's going to be a fun one. The next episode, the next solo series of the Visualize Meditations podcast, I think is going to be a pretty intense story time. I'm going to be at Coachella next week. And I've alluded to the Coachella story a handful of times on this podcast publicly, but I'm going to sit down and tell the full story. And that includes one of my deepest secrets. So, stay tuned for next week, where we will get into the full Coachella story. Bye!
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Visualize Meditations podcast. Please follow, subscribe, leave a review, all of the good things. If you want to connect more, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Living Your Vision. So what are you waiting for? Get out there, create the life of your dreams, and we will see you next week.